Hey, what is going on, guys? AlphaGamer12 here with another episode of the TFT Road to Glory. And today, guys, we're going to be doing something slightly different to begin with. So I'm going to put a number up, a timing up on the screen right now. And that is if you guys understand how TFT is played and just want to get to the actual Road to Glory, just go ahead and skip over to that part of the video. If not, and you want to understand how TFT works, because you're not sure, just stick around right now and I will do my best to explain all of the little parts that you might not get. Alright, so now let's just focus on what I have just zoomed in on. This is the playing board, and just like any other board game or that kind of style of game, you guys need to understand that where all of the action that goes on in the game is on the board, right? So this is our board for Teamfight Tactics, alright? You guys see all of the little shapes, they're called hexes, and they are hexagonal, obviously. And that is, each one represents a slot for you to put one champion down onto. And where you put them will change how they interact with other people, so the positioning that you have your champions down on the board is important, but we don't need to talk about the strategies for that until a later date. What you guys also need to understand is the number of champions that you can put down is dictated by your level. Currently, on this specific screenshot that I have added here, I was level 3. That's why you guys can see that I am allowed to have 3 champions up at the top. That just shows you how many champions you're allowed to have on the board at one time. Just keep that in mind when you're trying to play this game. Alright, so the next thing that we want to talk about is this bar at the top of the screen and what it means. So basically this bar is your schedule for a short period for the rest of the time. These 4 icons that I'm looking over right now are your schedule right now. So first off, we have the carousel right here, and that is just the circle of champions that you guys have seen us go through and look at, where you're just walking around and you pick them out. After that, you guys have 2 monster fights, which you guys I'm sure have seen, and then there's the fight versus Kane, which doesn't matter, it's still just a fight versus the computer. After that, we move to a different schedule, which you guys will obviously also see, which is 3 fights against other people, then a carousel again, and then 2 fights against people, and then another computer fight where you guys can get items, which we'll talk about again in a little bit. What you guys need to understand other than that about this bar is the number at the right side is just a countdown for how much longer is left in this specific round. Alright, so the next thing that we want to take a look at is this bar on the right side of the screen. All this is 3 things. First of all, the name of everyone in the game. That's completely irrelevant. Their name doesn't change anything. The next thing is the little monster or cute pet things that are in the circles. Those also don't have any bearing on the game whatsoever. They're just the avatars that the people choose to use because they look kind of cute. The last thing that you guys want to pay attention to is the only thing that actually matters on the right side, and that is the number. The number is just how much health they have, and therefore how close to losing any one person in the game actually is. Alright guys, so the next thing that we want to be talking about are items. That's what you get at the end of every round that you play against monsters. You'll get a specific number. It's kind of RNG, which just means it's random. You can't know what you can get, but there are 3 types that you can possibly get. So on the screen you guys can see right now actually is 2 different kinds. There's a gray one, which is really small, and a yellow one, which is a lot bigger. It's maybe golden is maybe the better color to say that it is. And basically the golden ones give you one of 2 things. Either they give you a golden spatula, which we'll talk about later, or they can give you a thing called Nico's Help, which we'll talk about again later once it comes up in the series, but they're just the rarest items available. The blue one, which I'll put on the screen right now as well, can give you just normal items. That's pretty much all that it gives you. The gray one, which is the smallest one, is going to give you either money, or if it's early on in the game, it can give you a random champion. That is all that those 3 types of items can drop. Alright, so the next thing that we want to talk about really quickly is what makes TFT a game and what lets you do things that are a little bit special. So if you guys look at the left side of the screen, you guys can see that there are 2 things right now that I have. That just represents the attributes that any given champion has. So what you need to understand about this is that every champion has 2 or 3 attributes, and they are shared throughout a bunch of champions, and by getting a specific number, so for example, for Chrono, it's 2, you can unlock the extra bonus that you get for having those attributes on that specific champion or champions. Alright guys, so the last thing that we really have to talk about for the basics of TFT is this little taskbar that you have at the bottom. There's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. The first of which is those champions that you guys can see. You can see clearly the attributes that they have and how that could fit into what you're going for as a comp, and you can see what their cost is. So Twisted Fate on the left side is worth 1, Ahri is worth 2, so on and so forth. It will display how much a champion is worth, and also that worth is corresponding to a color. So 1 is gray, 2 is green, and if you guys look right above Twisted Fate and Ahri, you can see that there's a bunch of percentages with colors. What that represents is exactly the same as the champion. It's just how likely you are to get that champion type when you get a new fresh set of champions. And so that leads you to the next question: how do you get a new set of champions? Well, it's really simple. Alright guys, and with that we are done with our intro to TFT explanation of everything that you need to know. So now we're going to be jumping into our Road to Glory episode. It's the second one, and so one thing to note here on this first carousel is that you guys can look up at the top left and see what galaxy it is. A lot of the time it's normal, but you can get special ones like this one, which is called the trade sector, which is really simple. Basically, it just means that every round you get 1 free reroll. That's all that you need to pay attention to. It's just 1 free reroll per round. So with my first option on the carousel, I picked Twisted Fate because he actually has a needlessly large wad, which is that item that you see above his head. It just gives you 20 spell power. It makes your spells 20% stronger, and that's a really good overall item to have because it first of all builds into a lot of good secondary items, and also it's really good to have an ability power item just right off the bat because you can always give it to someone who's really good. So here I was looking, scouting out everybody else, trying to see what everyone has in terms of champions to begin with, because I figured, you know what, I don't want to be going the same comp type as everybody else. As you guys can see, I picked up Shen for free, and then I bought the Blitzcrank, which gave me 2 really good level 2 characters who can carry me for a while, and that I got really early. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to pick up all of the Chrono champions that I possibly can, which included having to sell the Malphite, which I had picked up. Doesn't really matter. And then one thing to note for you guys might not have known this, it took me a while to figure this out. Actually, if you guys look at the top right of your dashboard at the bottom, there's a little unlocked padlock. Usually I locked it this time because you guys can see there's a Blitzcrank that I want to buy, but I don't have any money to buy him. So what pressing on that padlock does is actually it allows you to keep those champions that you have there at the bottom. It locks it in for a round, so it doesn't auto refresh them. Unfortunately, that means that you still would in a normal game have to pay for your refresh if you wanted to refresh that round, because it doesn't auto refresh for you. Luckily for me though, this round is the free reroll round, so I didn't actually have to pay for it. I grabbed the Blitzcrank, and now we're just looking for level 3 of all of these champions that we have in our comp. So we're just going through and fighting everyone that we can, trying to maintain a win streak. We lost our win streak. Doesn't really matter. We're just looking to upgrade our team right now. I gave the Caitlyn a Ginsu's Rageblade because it works really well with her and Chrono at the same time. What Ginsu's Rageblade does is every auto attack gives you plus 5 attack speed, and that continues to scale indefinitely. So plus the Chrono bonus, which is every couple of seconds your whole team gains attack speed. That looks pretty good for us because Caitlyn will be attacking very quickly. We're going to be looking to give her some more damage, but that's fine. So here is a really important point that I wanted to give you guys. I'm looking to get a level 3 Caitlyn and a level 3 Twisted Fate at this point because I have level 2s plus 1 extra of both of those champions. So what I did is, because I can't lose money based off of the 20 that you get. You know how when I talked about you have 10, you get plus 1 money. That's called econ. I talked about it last episode. It doesn't really matter. Just the point is you want to have even amount. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and then anything above that is fine. So I couldn't arrive at 20. I couldn't get the extra 1 bonus gold from that. So I just sat there and I bought all of the level 1s that I could because it increases the chance of me getting my Caitlyn or my Twisted Fate that I'm looking for. Additionally, you guys can see that from the Terra Busters, or Bursters I think is what they're actually called, we got a golden spatula. That's what the item is called. I'm holding on to it because I want to see if we can't make a better item out of the spatula. What the spatulas allow you to do is a couple of things. We talked about this last time, but we can reiterate. Basically, you combine a spatula with any one given item to create an item that gives you attributes for another champion. So even if you can't get to your 6 Chrono, let's say, I could create a Chrono spatula item, and then I would be able to put that on a champion who is not a Chrono champion, and then we would get what we're looking for because we would have the Chrono that we can apply to that champion. That's just how spatulas work. Additionally, the only other thing that a spatula can do is you can put 2 spatulas together if you're lucky enough to get both, and you can have an extra champion on the board. So even if you're level 5, you'd be able to put on 6 champions because it gives you an item called Force of Nature. Not that it really matters. So when we got to the carousel just a second ago, I picked up Wukong because he's another one of the Chrono champions that I'm looking to have in my team. We aren't doing so well though. We keep losing and winning. Ideally, you either want to go on a loss streak or a win streak just because of the extra gold it gives you. It's not so good that we are flip-flopping, but it is what it is. It's just how it is. So as you guys can look, every 4 seconds, we gain 15 attack speed on every champion. That's what the Chrono works, and then the Sorcerer actually gives us increased spell power. So this round really sucks because Caitlyn got pulled in by the Blitzcrank, and then we just got destroyed because all of our damage was gone. So additionally, you guys can see, there we go, we got another spatula. So what we can do is we can drop 2 spatulas down on any one given champion that we want. It doesn't really matter. I actually made a mistake and I didn't put it in here and use my advantage, but it's alright. I made a Bloodthirster for Wukong because I think giving him a little bit more damage and a little bit of magic resist is pretty good. Plus the passive of healing 30% of the damage that you do is pretty good because it'll keep him alive for a little bit longer. So as you guys can see, we actually got our 6 Chrono because we found the Ezreal and we put him in. So now we have the full Chrono bonus, and now we're just looking out to fill out the rest of our team, try to get as many level 3s as we can, and we're going for the secondary option for the last 3 because you get 9 champions. We're looking to finish our comp out with the Star Guardians. That's why I have Ahri and Syndra down on my bench. So the only other thing that I'm looking to do is possibly change Ezreal out for a Thresh if I can find a Thresh, because Thresh works a little bit better for my comp, and Thresh is really, really good because his ability actually is to pull in a champion from your bench, so then you can have even more extra champions on the playing field. So we look at this, what's it called? The carousel, and obviously we see the Thresh. We go around to try to get to the Thresh as quickly as possible because we really do want the Thresh. The only reason that I was kind of going backwards and forwards there, because I don't really want the BF sword on the Thresh. I don't want damage on the Thresh. That's not what he's for, but I figured it's better to get the Thresh, better to finish my comp, get the best champions in there as I can, even if I have a less than ideal item on Thresh. So I'm actually just checking out what I have on my bench right now to see what kind of items I can put on the Thresh to combine with the BF sword to give him the best possible item. I'm looking to remove the Ezreal as well, and I accidentally bought a Jace. We don't need to talk about that though. So we pick up a couple of Shens right there, and we're not going to go for the Wukong because it's very unlikely we're going to get a level 3 Wukong. It's just not going to happen really. So we got finally our level 3 Twisted Fate. We're doing okay. We're at the bottom, but our HP isn't so bad. It's pretty much the same as the dude above us and below us, so we're not too worried right now. But yeah, we're just going to look to keep our money, save up, and see if we can't find the level 3 Thresh and the level, not Thresh, sorry, the level 3 Shen and the level 3 Blitzcrank. That's what we're shooting for right now. And actually, I kind of go hard because we're only looking for one more Thresh, not one more Thresh, sorry, one more Blitzcrank and 2 more Shens. It shouldn't be too hard for us to get our level 3 for both of those champions. I look up at the top and I see that we still have the, I think it's Arc Raptors. Yep, it's Arc Raptors at the end of this round. So I'm not going to put my items on because we still have a chance to get some items. And actually, here we get wiped by the Garen pretty hard. Well, it's not Garen actually, it's the Super Mech, but it is what it is. So after the fight with the Arc Raptors, I got a couple of items, not the best, so I go for Spear of Sojin on Thresh because that's going to allow him to get his items a lot more his ability down a lot more quickly, get more champions off of the bench on, and then I also put the Warmog's armor on Wukong just so he has a lot more armor and so that he can regenerate more armor to survive a little bit longer. So now we're just looking, we're doing a decent job in this fight. It's gonna go down, we're gonna lose, but we didn't lose that hard. We're at a pretty low HP though, and it's not looking so good, so at this point I decided I'm just going to reroll over and over again, and hopefully we can find the Blitzcrank, or hopefully we can find the Shen, because at this point we're not going to be able to really be leveling up very far. Additionally, you guys saw that I picked up the Jhin and I put him in instead of Ahri, because then I was thinking, well, we have kind of committed to the whole Caitlyn doing damage thing, because we have more items on her than we have anyone other than the Wukong. So I put Jhin in because he gives the sniper bonus, plus Jhin is a pretty good damage dealer, but just by himself, just by being him. So I put them both in. Just something for anyone who's not aware, the sniper bonus is basically, depending on the number of hexes between any two champions, you get more damage on just those sniper champions. So I saw the Thresh, I saw the opportunity to grab the Thresh, because now we only have to find one more Thresh in order to get a level 2 Thresh, which would give him a good amount of health and damage and just mana and everything to make him quite a bit stronger. So we're looking for that. Plus, on top of that, there's no champion that we really want on this carousel anyway. So just to make sure you guys understood why I used all of my items there, if you guys look at the top again, we have Kayn, which is telling me that we're going to have only full items from here on out. So I wanted to just get them all down because there's no point in holding on to them anymore. So as you guys can see, we got pretty lucky, and we didn't find the Blitzcrank and we didn't find the Thresh. I just tried to adjust my positioning so that Caitlyn does not get destroyed, because I actually looked around and there's actually a very high number of people with the Infiltrator comp, which means that a lot of people have champions that are jumping behind my entire team, which means that the squishy champions who aren't the front lines, like Caitlyn and Jhin, who are supposed to do a lot of damage, die very quickly. There we got really lucky, we're really happy about that, we got our Blitzcrank, so I'm just trying to move it around so that we can get the most damage done and be less squishy so that the Caitlyn has a little bit more protection, seeing that she has the most damage. We just put Ahri and Jhin over on the side, and hopefully they just don't instantly die. So here we kind of just got destroyed by the enemy, level 2 Jhin with double Infinity Edge and Last Whisper. We have 2 health, so at this point it's just do or die. We're going to wait until after Kayn, and then we're just going to re-roll until we hopefully get the Shen. If we don't get the Shen, it's just kind of over for us and we go out, because at this point we don't have enough gold to level up so that we can put one more champion in, but we also don't have enough to really do anything. So here we're just looking to see if we can't find the Thresh, the level 2 Thresh, or find the Shen. So I'm just re-rolling. I put the item on the Thresh, I find the level 2 Thresh, and then I just spend everything that I have. I sell things, and I'm just trying to find the Shen. We don't find him in the end before this round, and so it's a just do or die kind of moment for us. We have to win this, and I don't actually remember if we win this or not. Do we? Yes, we do. That's really good for us. So we won this one, so we're still in it for a little bit longer.